Hello, this is a free call from
Chad.
an incarcerated individual at Darlington County Detention Center. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored.
Chad.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for calling me back. No, the reason I'm calling you up is I got your name out of a very, very old case file as a victim.
Yes, sir.
So do you know a Robbie Lyles?
Yes, sir.
Were you the one in the case where he was convicted of, I think it was assault and battery with intent to kill / attempted murder?
Yes, sir.
That would have been 1997 or so?
I think so. 96, 97, somewhere right along in there.
All right, we have the Robbie Lyles case file. The original charge was assault and battery with intent to kill, but he pleaded guilty to assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature. And here's the indictment. It says, on or about August 23, 1994, with malice aforethought, Robbie Lyles committed an assault and battery upon one Chad Campbell with intent to kill. Lyles shot at Campbell with a 12-gauge shotgun and beat him about the head and back with that shotgun. This all happened on Union Church Road in McBee.
Do you remember what happened? Or
Yeah, I remember pretty much everything, yeah. His wife was cheating on him. We were messing around, I guess. I was dropping her back off across the road from her house, and he come out across the road, him and another guy with a gun, started shooting at us. We ran and got split up. I told her to stay down out of sight, and they passed by her and come on to me. Got up, he shot me. He hit me up a little bit with the shotgun. And I told him to stop. I said, I'll give up. And he beat me with a shotgun and made me walk back to the house, to his parents' house. He got another gun out of the car, a 22, and he called his dad on the step. Asked his dad to come outside. He said he wanted him to see who he had called in the yard, but he didn't catch me in the yard. I wasn't in the yard. I wasn't going to go in the yard. His dad come out, and he took the pistol from the black guy that was still with him. He was fixing to shoot me. His mom come out and jumped on him and knocked the gun out of his hand. He shot right beside my head. She told his dad, Butch, give me some help. Call I told him if he just let me go, I was fine. I'd get myself to the hospital. I barely made it to the hospital, but I was feeling pretty damn good.
did he ever shoot you?
He didn't shoot me, no, but he was down. I mean, it was right by my face. I mean, it was close enough that I thought I was shot. He beat the out of me there. Yeah, he beat me down real good. He held me at gunpoint while doing it.
Now, while Lyles was out on bond from that felony assault and the shotgun, he picked up a drug charge in 1997. Someone wrote on the indictment that Lyles had a bag of powder cocaine on him, and this shows he was at McBee High School when he got busted. In 1997, Robbie Lyles, who was 25 years old at the time, pleaded guilty to the felony assault and drug charge. A judge sentenced him to 5 years in prison, but suspended the jail time for 3 years probation, meaning if Lyles stayed out of trouble for 3 years, he wouldn't have to go to prison. But the day Lyles pleaded guilty, Chesterfield County deputies charged him with conspiracy to distribute marijuana. That charge later disappeared from Lyles' rap sheet and the Chesterfield County Courthouse. Well, you're probably asking why we're digging into 30-year-old criminal files. Well, the answer is simple. A few months back, while we were investigating claims that McBee leaders imposed a ticket quota in that town, Mayor Glenn Odom told me someone else, not the police chief, was over that small-town police force.
You know, I stand on, there's no quota. Robbie Lyles, he's over the police department. We have no quota.
Robbie Lyles was standing off to the side when the mayor told me that. Lyles was elected to McBee Town Council in 2020. You're probably asking, how can a convicted felon vote or even run for office in South Carolina? Well, state law bans felons from holding office, but only for a limited period of time. Right there in Article 6, Section 1 of the state constitution shows that 15-year elected office ban. 2 years before Lyles ran for McBee Town Council, his 15-year ban ended. But what about overseeing a police department? There's no law banning that, but we wanted to know precisely what power Lyles has over the McBee Police Department. The councilman would not schedule an interview to answer those questions, so we found him at Town Hall. Councilman Lyles, how are you? Hey, what specifically does it mean when the mayor says that you're over the McBee Police Department?
What does it sound like, man?
What does that mean?
So, boss.
This is my Class 1 officer identification, my credentials, and that's a handsome fellow on there. I don't really want to throw that away, so.
Someone who might know the answer, former McBee police officer Jarrell Wright.
But as far as the comment Glenn Odom made that Robbie Lyles is the head of the police department, that was the first I've heard of that. I knew he had something to do with it in the beginning because he was the one that handed me my equipment, but I didn't know of his past, and then I didn't know he was over the police department either.
The town reestablished the police department in June 2023. Wright joined the force that August, but we don't know exactly when Lyles took over the department. Wright says he didn't know Robbie Lyles or anything about him before he went to work for the town. When did you learn that council member Robbie Lyles had a criminal history?
I was probably on one of the holiday breaks from the academy. I remember we were standing in the little maintenance shop. He was talking about it with a head maintenance worker in there, and that's when it first came to light to me of he may have had some things going on in his past. But I didn't dig, I didn't ask, I didn't care. However, he ended up where he is now. I assume he turned his life around. He's doing a lot better, and I've never had any issues with him in any way, shape, or form.
Did you know at the time that he was a convicted felon?
I did not. I found out that day, but up until then, I did not.
Wright didn't know the extent of Lyles' oversight of the police force, but he does remember an order he says Lyles gave him. Last September, a man ambushed Wright during a traffic stop. The man fired more than 60 shots at him as he slid down into the floorboard of his police car and pulled his bulletproof vest over his head. Somehow, he survived.
This is a ticket count that I kept up with on the daily.
Jarrell Wright was the town's top ticket writer. He says the mayor imposed a ticket quota demanding at least 10 tickets per shift from every officer. It was nothing for Wright to knock out 50 or more tickets per shift. But not all officers lived up to the mayor's expectation. Wright gave us multiple text messages between him and Mayor Glenn Odom, where the mayor would check in daily on the number of tickets his officers wrote. The texts show the mayor wasn't happy with Lieutenant Greg Block's ticket totals. Go home and get cool and lay down. Let Block work. He'll get 2 or 3. He got 5 last week, the mayor wrote. In another text, Jarrell Wright updated the mayor. Over 150 tickets in 3 days, he wrote. The mayor: has Block had that many this year? In another text, how many $440 fines in 3 days, the mayor asked. 49. Good job. Block will do that many if he stays 3 more years. Wright says Councilman Lyles and Chief Timmy Knight had a plan to help Captain Block.
I am looking for the text message from Lieutenant Block giving me his login information to write tickets in his name. August the 5th. 2024 at 5:08 p.m. He sends me his username and password.
Wright says Councilman Lyles wanted him to do this to keep the mayor off Block's back. The text show Greg Block wanted the help, texting Jarrell Wright what to say to cover it all up if anyone ever found out.
And he tells me to just say, if anything goes down, you had to use my computer because your login wasn't working.
Wright says he logged in as Greg Block and went to work writing tickets as Officer Block. The evidence, he says, is right inside his notebook.
You see different colors there. The black, that's all mine. Like the blue, those are the ones that I did, but it was in someone else's name under their login and info. Here we go again. Not as many on this day, but it was still done. And if there's blue in between the black, those are days that I misplaced my black pen and just used blue, kept it going. And days like this, on Sunday, finished in blue, that was for someone else. Finished in red, that was for someone else. And of course, that is the very last day that I was out and about patrolling for the PD. And at that point, at 7:48, I had written him 10 so far. And his response to that was, "You are the man, brother." There's an interesting one, August 16th. This is from him writing me some tickets. Lieutenant Block, you see who it's from.
Why were you writing tickets in others' names?
I was asked to keep the mayor off of this one person in particular for their ticket count or lack thereof. I was asked to do that by Councilman and the Chief, Robbie Lyles and Timmy Knight.
So what did Robbie Lyles say to you to cause this to happen?
He asked me if I could write some in Greg Block's name under his login to keep the mayors off of his ass for not writing tickets.
Did the police chief make this request to you separately from Robbie Lyles?
Yes, he did.
And was it the same reason?
It was the same reason.
We asked Councilman Lyles, Chief Knight, and Captain Block to interview, even refute Wright's claims. None of the men responded to us. This is something Wright now believes was against the law and something he's prepared to tell outside investigators.
I'll tell law enforcement anything they need to know. I have nothing to hide.
Officer Down continues after this. In June 2023, McBee got its police department back up and running, years after disbanding it. Then, a few weeks later, the department made its first arrest.
Jody Barr?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just want to know, I just want to do this when you were being set free, but what in the world happened that would have landed you in jail for the last 24 hours? Robert Monty was a reporter and opinion writer with The Link, a rural Chesterfield County newspaper. His reporting often criticized town leaders, especially how they spent tax dollars. Councilman Robbie Lyles didn't like Monty's reporting and often used Facebook to criticize it.
So maybe it was a silly thing to do, but Sunday morning on the way to work, I put a sign up that said, bye-bye Robbie. It was a joke. Harmless prank. Nothing got hurt, nothing got broken.
For that, multiple McBee police officers swarmed Monty's home and arrested him. McBee Chief Timmy Knight got the arrest warrant for vandalism. Lyles admitted he was standing on the street at Monty's home as the officers handcuffed the reporter, then watched him taken off to jail. Town Hall and Councilman Robbie Lyles are considered the victims in the case. I guess, can we see the sign?
Yeah, let's ask Chief.
Lyles walked me into the secured hallway of McBee Town Hall and right into the police department.
Hey, Chief. Mr. Jody Barr wants to know if he can see that sign, or is it?
Seconds later, Lyles was holding a key piece of evidence against the reporter.
Bye-bye, Robbie.
The councilman wanted the town's justice system to throw the book at Robert Monty.
I'm glad that it's not a felony charge. You know, it's a misdemeanor, so it shouldn't affect him too bad, but still to the point, you know, if it's illegal and there's a statute against it, then he's got to be charged as accordingly.
Is this a crime that the city plans to prosecute to the fullest?
I'd say by the time by the time it was charged, I'd say they wouldn't pull back to do it any other way.
Now, 2 years later, those charges are still pending and Robert Monty still waiting for his jury trial. This all happened days after I first met Robbie Lyles. Not long after, a tipster contacted me and told me Lyles had a criminal history of his own. We're not just talking about that 1997 conviction of felony assault or that cocaine possession at McBee High School. In April 1997, weeks after pleading guilty to the state felony assault and drug possession charges, a federal grand jury indicted Lyles and 2 other men in a drug conspiracy case. The 10-count indictment charged Lyles and his co-conspirators of possessing with the intent to distribute cocaine and marijuana. Lyles later pleaded guilty to the conspiracy, agreeing to tell everything he knew on his co-conspirators and to testify against them. And he did. In exchange, the Justice Department agreed to give Lyles immunity from prosecution on any federal crime he may have committed before his indictment. While awaiting sentencing and working with the feds in the drug conspiracy investigation, Lyles violated his probation and his state convictions. His court file shows he was never punished for that. The federal court sentenced Lyles to 15 months in federal prison. The agreement also included a lifetime ban on Lyles ever touching a firearm or ammunition again. The U.S. Marshals took him here to Butner, North Carolina. When he was released in June of 1999, Lyles was supposed to serve 3 years of supervised release. But not long after his supervised release started, his probation officer told the court Lyles failed 3 drug tests. The judge revoked Lyles' release and sent him back to federal prison, where he served the final 8 months of his original sentence. Lyles finished his federal prison sentence in February 2000. 3 years after his release, we found this. It's an incident report from the Bennettsville Police Department from 2003. An officer arrested Lyles on Woodland Drive just before dawn one morning. A neighbor called in hearing multiple gunshots. The officer wrote that he arrested Robbie Lyles after Lyles admitted he fired a Browning .380 into the air several times. City court records show Lyles never showed up for court, so the judge found him guilty and the city kept his $250 bond as a fine. What the Bennettsville police report does not show why the city never told the feds that a felon was not only in possession of a firearm and used it, but was convicted of it. Before we left Bennettsville, we also found this, an incident report showing Marlboro County deputies charged Robbie Lyles with criminal domestic violence of a high and aggravated nature in 2013. Lyles' then-wife told deputies Robbie started arguing with her over running errands, then went into a rage, punching her, hit her with a chair, a hammer, and stabbed her with a screwdriver. Deputies noted this happened in front of the couple's 10-year-old child. City court records show Lyles was never convicted of the charge, and his case was later expunged and the court records destroyed.
Wow.
Until our interview with Jarrell Wright, he didn't know the full extent of the councilman's record.
When you hear the mayor say Robbie Lyles is over the police department, how does that sit with you?
Everything that you just told me is a first for me. So it's kind of, throw the kind of out there. It's shocking.
We asked the State Law Enforcement Division for Robbie Lyles' background, which is a public record. Right at the top, it shows that federal firearm ban is still in place today. It also shows driving under the influence convictions, a bad check conviction, driving under suspension, and that firearm charge out of Bennettsville.
I don't know how the public will react to this.
Wright also didn't know about the federal firearm ban back when he says Councilman Lyles handed him his police equipment the day he was hired in August 2023.
Walked in straight to the right where the police clerk takes all the payments. Robbie Lyles handed me duty belt, taser and holder, gun and holster. The gun and clips, of course, was empty. He double checked all that before he passed it on to me. All of my equipment down to the radio. He programmed the radio, told me what channel that we stay on and what channel McBee goes on when they're doing their own little thing in town.
And again, who handed you all of this?
Councilman Robbie Lyles.
The SLED report confirms Lyles is still banned from possessing, receiving, shipping, or transporting any firearm or ammunition. The latest figures from the U.S. Sentencing Commission shows an average of 5-year prison sentences for felons convicted of violating the firearm ban.
So given your criminal history, you're barred from possessing, transporting, having anything to do with a firearm. Are you still prohibited from possessing or owning a firearm today? Have you ever handled or handed one to an officer here in this town?
Yeah. I caught them one by one, give them their ARs. I caught them one by one, give them their bazookas. What you think, man?
Okay.
What's your next?
What would you say to someone who may point out that you're overseeing this town in a department that you wouldn't even be able to qualify to serve this department? What would you say to that?
I said,
do you think it would be better that you not be involved in this police department?
I don't think it's for you to say.
I'm asking you the question. Mr. Mayor, what does it mean that Robbie Lyles is over the McBee Police Department?
Johnny, you look good, boy, getting them tires done. We appreciate it.
Are you aware of Councilman Lyles' criminal history? We've got 6 minutes here. I feel like we've got plenty of time if you would answer these questions for us. Nothing?
Nothing, but
What would you tell the people of McBee about what we're about to tell them? Okay.
Just before I finished gathering background records on the councilman, someone told me that Lyles' driver's license was suspended again. I pulled his driving record from the DMV, and right there it was, suspended. His latest license suspension stemmed from this October 2023 traffic stop in nearby Darlington County.
SC-151 in Shell Drive. It's going to be on a white and color Kia Sorento.
A trooper spotted Councilman Lyles driving with an expired tag. Lyles had just gotten his license back 3 months before this stop.
You get your registration insurance too.
The trooper was willing to cut Lyles a break.
So I did cite you for expired tags, $155. If you get it paid and show up to court by November the 9th, 11 o'clock at the Darlington Mayor's office, and I can drop that ticket for you. Just bring the new registration and sticker.
But the councilman never showed up for his bench trial, and the judge found him guilty in his absence. DMV records show it took him more than a year to pay the fine. And when he did and got his license back, the DMV suspended him again in December 2024 for no insurance. That suspension's remained in place ever since. Lyles' driving record shows 16 suspensions, mainly for failing to show up to court, then not paying his fines.
We are now heading into the town of McBee, trying to confirm a tip we got that Robbie Lyles' license is suspended and that he is driving around the town of McBee performing work. We're now on the hunt to see if we can find the white Chevrolet pickup truck I'm told he's driving. There he is. He's getting out of his truck. Appears to be heading over into Town Hall right now.
The councilman spent nearly an hour inside Town Hall and the McBee Police Department. He spent several minutes talking to a town cop.
That's the councilman leaning into the driver's door of the patrol truck, the black Durango.
Before hopping into his truck, driving across a town sidewalk, down a private driveway, to dodge the traffic jam at the only light in McBee.
And he's pulling on to Highway 151. That is Councilman Robbie Lyles pulling up here to the administration office here in Chesterfield County.
3 weeks after watching Lyles driving under suspension in McBee, I saw him driving to a county council meeting in Chesterfield, this time in a different pickup truck. The DMV confirmed his license was still suspended when we spotted him driving again. Multiple sources in McBee told me the councilman is working with Alligator Water, reading water meters. It's the same water company Mayor Glenn Odom runs through his private management company, Odom and Associates. Odom and Associates also employs McBee councilman James Linton.
This is the truck Councilman Lyles drove here to the county offices today.
In those trucks, we saw Lyles driving with a suspended driver's license.
And this is the VIN number.
County tax records confirm those VIN numbers belong to Alligator Rural Water and Sewer Company. After we recorded the video of Lyles driving while his license was suspended, then reminded him about his suspension, he got his license reinstated.
It's April 11th. I'm down here in Florence, South Carolina, waiting to meet with Jarrell Wright. He got a call from SLED a few days after our story aired on the ticket quota system. And there's Jarrell. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
How goes it? Here we are, coming to meet with SLED today before I go to work.
Is there anything you wouldn't plan to talk to SLED about?
I have nothing to hide. I'm not nervous, not feeling anything. I just want to go in here and get it over with and go on about my life. And honestly, get the hell away from McBee. That's what I want to do. So, here goes.
Jarrell Wright spent 2 hours interviewing with SLED agents that day. He also gave SLED every text message he gave us and then some. My sources tell me SLED agents are actively investigating McBee's police department, Councilman Robbie Lyles, and brand new allegations involving Mayor Glenn Odom. And we're not finished investigating McBee either.